Blast me to the mortal realms! It's time for the Mad Merlins review of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer, issue 28 by Hachette Partworks and Games Workshop. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Stormbringer magazine review. And this time we're looking at issue 28, and this issue comes with the now out of print Underworld's warband Zarbags Gitz for the Gloomspite Gitz collection. So a rather characterful little warband. We'll have a look at these guys in closer detail in just a second. But before we dive into the magazine, let's not forget to, of course, like the video if you are enjoying the content. And if you are, please do consider subscribing to the channel, as it's the only way you can keep up to date with all my mad content. Finally, if you'd like to support the channel, there's all the links in the description down below, including the Mad Merlins Patreon and affiliate links. And finally, if you want to help the channel out just by dropping a comment down below, you can do so by answering this video's question. And that question is, what is your favourite Underworld's warband? So for me, kind of a toss-up between Elfrane's is it Elfrane's Hunters? The one from the third starter set with the Beast Elves, as I like to call it. I quite like that one, but as a good old Skaven fanboy, I think it has to be the Underworld's warband from the first series, the Spiteclaw's Swarm. Right then, let's dive into issue 28 and take a look at Zarbag and his Gitz. Alright, let's open up issue 28. So we got our frame and our magazine, so we'll look at that in a sec. Let's first zoom in or take a look at Zarbag and his Gitz. So here we have the frame for Zarbags Gitz, and it's pretty cool, all jam-packed. Each character is nicely unique. So we've got a couple of shooters, trio of shooters actually, I can't see very well apparently, which each one has a nice, slightly unique pose. So we've got this one here who's leaning backwards a bit too far and he's losing his arrows. This guy is just standing pretty straight and has loosed an arrow. And this guy is pulling a mushroom from his back instead of an arrow. Oh no, he's got arrow-capped mushrooms. That's very weird. Yeah, pretty cool. Nice little character models. We got a netter. We even have a squig, because which Gloomspite Gitz warband isn't complete without a squig or two. And we also have a fanatic on chain gulping down a potion, and of course we have Zarbag himself there. So yeah, each one comes with a nicely detailed and uniquely detailed base. So you got a little campfire there, got some insects from the realm of life, some coins on that one, bones, a pit of acid with a skull in, being dissolved, and a few bases that have stalactites and stalagmites. And of course, there's plenty of mushrooms, because these guys love their mushrooms. So yeah, pretty cool. Right then, let's take a look at the actual issue and see how these guys go together. So we don't have a lot in this issue. We have background for our Gloomspite Gitz with the growing menace. We have our collect article for Zarbags Gitz, building and painting them. Core rules. We learn about inspiring present, Zarbag and his Gitz rules, Loon Smasher Fanatics rules, and behold the bad moon for our pitched battle. So let's dive into things straight away with the growing menace. In the hands of the Gloomspite Gitz, the bizarre cave fungi in the mortal realms can be a deadly weapon. These grots seek out the most noxious and magical fungi, and they use it to make bombs, poisons, potent brews, and even fearsome beasts of war. So yeah, fungus is everywhere, and where that is, the Gloomspite Gitz will often be found. So, small subspecies of orcs, the grots, have lived most of their lives underground and as such become fanaticized by mushrooms. As mentioned, they use mushrooms mainly for potions, quite often for decoration, and usually to create vicious monsters in the form of squigs. Speaking of squigs, we've got a list of some of the different types of squigs. So we've got bat squigs, spider squigs, giant squigs, and yeah, pretty dangerous squigs. So it's quite interesting to see how many different types there are. There's even mini squigs. So yeah, they multiply quickly. And yeah, really cool. Right, moving on then, we've got a look at Zarbags Gitz. So, reason for joining the war, we just roll a dice and tick. And here we have a little bit of background. So grots are bizarre creatures capable of much more than their stature would suggest. Few grots have outdone themselves more than Zarbags Gitz, an unlikely group of adventurers who serve the moon-clan shaman Zarbag. They overwhelm their enemies with magic, steel, and biting squigs. So yeah, we got a squig herder with 2 squigs as part of the warband. Zarbag himself, we got a fanatic, we got a fungus shaman there, and a trio of archers. So yeah, we have all the names for each of them. So we've got Zarbag, Drizgit the Squig Herder, Prog the Netter, Dibs, Redcap and Stickit as shooters, Gobberluck, Bone Cracker as 2 squigs, and Snurk Sourtongue, which is a fanatic. We've got a tick chart again for their chosen tactics, and any time they complete a specific tactic in the game, we can tick them off down here. So next up, we got our build guide. So these guys are fairly straightforward to go together. They are push fit models, so you won't need glue, but it will be helpful in the long run. Most of these guys are one-piece models in the form of Dibs, Stickit, and Redcap. But just take your time clipping out the components when you need them, pushing them together. And yeah, so Prog the Netter is also one piece. Snick Sourtongue on his fanatic chain is a little bit more intricate. We got the 2 halves of the body and the chain ball. We got his head and the actual chain itself for his wrecking ball. And then we have Drizgit the Squig Herder, and we have our 2 squigs. So next up, we learn to paint our Gitz. So we want to paint them all with Auric Flesh, and then carefully pick out the robes and pots with Abaddon Black, before picking out the silver details with Lead Belcher. There's quite a few details of Lead Belcher to be picked out, so just take your time going around, and don't forget to check the gallery at the end. Next, we're using Corax White to pick out the fairy, the mushrooms, and the smoke. Mephiston Red for some of the mushroom caps. Catcher Flesh for any of the wood details. Wraithbone for ropes, bandages, and the arrow fletchings. Wraithbone is also used to pick out bones and some of the various mushrooms inside Zarbag's cauldron, as well as the net. Finally, Corn Red is used for the quivers and scabbards for various small knives. Then painting our squigs, we use Corn Red first off, Abaddon Black to pick out the claws, Wraithbone for the teeth, And that's pretty much it for the moment. So yeah, got quite a few colours down on them, but there's still many more yet to go. These guys are still looking quite suitable. Okay, moving on, we got rules about wounds and wards. So we learn about allocating a wound to a model, models being slain, how wards can save your wounds, how to heal wounds, and what mortal wounds do. And finally, we have all about the battle shock phase and the end of the battle round. So we're coming towards the end of the core rules, and we'll be looking at some more of the expanded rules in future issues. So we've got a command ability learnt for the command for the battle shock phase, which is Inspiring Presence, which allows you to automatically pass a battle shock test, which is pretty handy, especially if you've suffered a lot of casualties. And we got the Soulblight Gravelords facing off against some Wolf Riders from the Gloomspite Gitz there. And we have Be'lakor and his Dark Alliance of Chaos facing off against a combination of different Storm Hosts and even the Caradron Overlords. Moving on to our rules sections. So for our units, we've got Zarbag and his Gitz rules there. So yeah, Zarbag is a wizard, so he can cast a spell. He has his Sniffer Spite and Cage, so a starter hero phase roll a dice on a 4+, can attempt to cast an additional spell. He has the Jealous Hex rule, so if a Jealous Hex is a spell, casting value of 6, a range of 18, pick an enemy hero, range of the cast and visible to the caster. Till the start of your next hero phase, ignore positive modifiers to hit rolls and wound rolls, and ignore positive modifiers to save rolls. We also have Face of the Bad Moon. So there's another spell, casting value of 5, successfully cast, pick an enemy within 3 inches, visible, the unit must retreat. If it's possible for the unit to make the move, impossible for the unit to make the move for any reason, it suffers d6 mortal wounds. Pretty handy if you manage to pin an opponent's unit against a battlefield edge or against a terrain piece. And then we have the different members of Zarbags Gitz. So Netters subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units while they are 1 inch of the model with a barbed net. Snurk Sour Tongue is a Loon Smasher Fanatic, so the first time this unit is set up on the battlefield, 1 Loon Smasher Fanatics unit consisting of 1 model is added to your army and hidden behind this unit as a reserve unit. And then we have Protect the Boss, so we have the ability to ignore wounds on Zarbag and take wounds on the unit. Pretty powerful. And yeah, we have Zarbags Gitz here, all the different members. And we have Face of the Bad Moon as well there. So we have Loon Smasher Fanatics. We'll be getting some more of these guys later on. So yeah, you'll receive 2 units of Loon Smasher Fanatics. The first comes as Zarbags Gitz and consists of 1 model. The second will come in a future issue consisting of 5 models. And you use this war scroll for both of them. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, release the Fanatics. You guys have been the bane of many armies. But yeah, pretty cool nonetheless. So our mission for the week, is Behold that Bad Moon. Seeing the Lord Imperator, 6 Griffhounds, 5 Vindictors, and 4 Praetors facing off against Zarbag, a Loon Boss, Zarbags Gitz, the Killer Boss, 10 Gut Rippers, 10 Hobgot Slitters, and the Marsh Crawler Slogoth. So we set up 5 pieces of terrain. We got the fountain and 4 smaller pieces from the primal layer. And then we have our battlefield deployments along the long edges. So battle lasts for 5 rounds. End of the game, count the number of models within 3 inches of the fountain. Player with the most wins the game. And in the battle shock phase, every non-hero unit within 12 inches of the centre of the battlefield must take a battle shock test, even if they did not suffer casualties. Add 2 to the test roll, in addition to the number of casualties that a unit has suffered. Moon Clan and Troggoth units within 12 inches automatically pass. So yeah, pretty cool. And coming up next, we have 2 new paints, Runelord Brass and Barracknell Burgundy, plus we learn about the Realm of Heavens in issue 29. Issue 30 sees our second unit of Hobgoblin Slitters. We learn about the Slaves of Darkness, and we start to use objective markers in our games. So yeah, there we have it. That was issue 28 of Stormbringer with a lovely, fantastic warband to add to our collection. So let me know what you thought of this in the comment section down below, and also don't forget to let me know which is your favourite Underworld's warband. I think I've asked this question before, but it's one that's well worth being asked more and more, as there are quite a few new ones that keep coming out, and some of them are really quite nice. But yeah, let me know how you've been getting on with the collection so far, and I will see you next time for more Stormbringer. So all that's left for me to do is to say thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.